Summer Bock, and today I'm going to show you how to make kefir. I'm going to show you how to make some dairy kefir and some non-dairy. And let me just say what I have here in front of me, and I'll tell you a little bit about the benefits. So I have a coconut. This is for the vegan style kefir. Here are the actual kefir grains. They're these little tiny globules, look like sort of like cauliflower, kind of like curds. This is blended sunflower seed and flaxseed. It was just soaked for a day, and then I blended it up in the blender with some water. These are dried apricots, and then this is just a little sample size of kefir grains sitting in milk, and this is cow's milk. So first off, I'm just going to crack into this coconut here and get the water out. You can use a mature coconut like this one. And in case you don't know, one of the eyes is always soft. So you can just like poke on each one until you find which one will let you stab right through it. And then you move some of the coconut meat out of the way. And then there it goes. And so we're just going to let this sit here and empty out while I do one of the others. So kefir has many benefits. It has all the probiotics, the lactobacilli and things like that. So it helps with the digestion, inoculates the intestinal tract. It's really good for people who have lactose intolerance. Helps you digest milk products. So for some people who can't actually drink straight milk, sometimes kefir is fine, totally fine. Kefir is touted by many of the health enthusiasts as one of the most healing probiotic-rich foods, but only if you make it at home. That's because when kefir is made at the store in an industrial process, they use a starter culture that is like a little starter powder. It's a monoculture, and they add that to milk. They let it ferment for 24 to 48 hours. You end up with a sterile environment. So when you use the kefir grains, these grains are actually made up of a little bit of yeast and a little bit of bacteria, and one of the bacteria produces this cellulose, and they hang out and live in these little granules. And then you plop that into some milk. Basically, it's a tablespoon into some milk or coconut water in this instance. And you would put this in a jar and just let this sit for 24 to 48 hours, and you would have coconut water kefir. Probiotic rich, very delicious, and it's a little sour. Because of the yeast, there's a little bit of alcohol in it, probably 1% in the finished product. But the key component here is using kefir grains and getting your hands on real kefir grains so that you're not just using these starter packets. The starter culture, the powdered starter cultures don't have the health benefits that kefir actually has. So I'm going to grab one of these jars. It would be as simple as this. You just put it in a jar and let it sit somewhere warm for 24 to 48 hours. So the next kind of kefir I'm going to make is called apricot fizz. Apricot fizz. You're just going to take a jar and add about a half a cup of apricots and half a cup of water. And then you're going to add your kefir grains, a teaspoon to a tablespoon. And just let this mix in. And you're going to let this sit for 24 to 48 hours. If you've just gotten your kefir grains out of the refrigerator, say they've been sitting in the refrigerator for a few weeks or months, they might be slow going, so they're going to need the 48 hours. But what you get when you're done here is almost like this apricot flavored soda. It's delicious and it's probiotic, and it's very good for people who don't do dairy, like me. So now we're going to make a sunflower seed flax yogurt with kefir. This is a great vegan yogurt. It's really delicious. You can turn it into sour cream. You can add onions to it later once it's fermented, various spices, and eat it with crackers or anything like that. So what we've done is I've soaked some sunflower seeds and flax seeds for a day, and then I blended them up. Here they are. And we're going to add some kefir grains to it. So first, what I need to do, though, is I need to get the kefir grains out of the little jar. These are all sitting in milk. They tend to store best in milk because that's really where they thrive. So if you're making apricot kefir or seed yogurt, various things like that, your kefir grains aren't going to thrive if you just keep doing that batch after batch. Eventually you'll want to put them back in some milk. I've noticed with the coconut water, I will make coconut water kefir fairly regularly. And then after a while, the kefir grains, they start to just look a little sad. I put them in milk and they plump right back up. So I've gotten most of the milk out of here. I'm just going to rinse this off so that all I have left is the kefir grains. Okay, there they are. And I'm just going to plop them in here and mix them around. So some people who are really allergic to dairy, they may not want to go straight from the milk, rinsing the milk off to putting them into your vegan dish. So in that case, I would do the coconut water kefir for one batch, and then you can just toss out that coconut water, and then they'll be rinsed off and they won't have any more lactose on them. And then you can add them to your seed yogurt. So then you'll just put a lid on this, let it sit for 24 to 48 hours, and it will be delicious, sour seed yogurt. I love this stuff, and you can make it savory or sweet. It's up to you. The basic recipe for making milk kefir is the same as the coconut water kefir. The basic recipe for kefir is 1 quart of liquid to a tablespoon of kefir grains. It's not an exact science. You can just plop some kefir grains in some milk and you should be good to go. I generally make it in about 1 cup batches because that's a more manageable amount to drink. When you are maybe in a lull where you're not going to be making any kefir, you might want to store them in milk in a little container in the fridge, and that should last indefinitely. You might want to feed them every few months though, or they may get lazy and eventually fizzle out. But one of the ways that I really ensure that I have enough kefir grains on hand is to spread them out, is to give them out to my friends and my family and get everybody making kefir, so that if I actually run out of them or I stop and I kind of let them go, neglect them, and they go bad, which actually I haven't had happen yet. So, I'm sure people out there have, but you can have people in your life who are making kefir and then just trade them around, send them out to foster homes, get them back later on. So storage is pretty easy for kefir grains. And they're pretty forgiving for the most part as well. So try this yourself, go out and buy the ingredients, and then rewind the video and then follow along. You might want to do it when the information is still fresh in your mind, so hurry up. My name is Summer Bock, and this is Fermentation Mastery.
If you liked what you heard on this video, please click the link below to subscribe.